Every year around this time, I'm usually in Montreal for work, but this year, we are home. And when in Montreal, poutine, bagels, croissant, foie gras, escargot, orange Gillette, and the famous Montreal smoked meat.
For those of you wondering what the heck is Montreal smoked meat, it's basically pastrami of the north. It's cured, smoked, then steamed, served hot or cold on rye bread with mustard.
And you're missing out. Actually, we're missing out.
Is it worth it for us to drive all the way to Montreal, or should we make it at home in 12 days? Yes, after really thorough investigative research, I found Glenn and Friends Cooking.
Hey, that's the first result.
And it took them over 10 days to make the meat.
If we don't get started now, we'll have to wait even longer to eat it.
You want to find a nice piece of beef brisket with good marbling and a flat that's thick and even. If for some reason you want to make a small one, you can either get the flat for a leaner meat or a point for a fattier cut. We're going to need to trim the fat. Now, if only I can do that to myself. Since I'm doing this in the sous vide, the fat is going to render much less than if I were to do it in the smoker all the way or steam it after. So you want to trim a good amount of it off. Start by removing the extra fat from the sides of the brisket or any gray meat. Try not to take too much off though, because you paid good money for this stuff. On the top, we're going to remove it down to about 1/4 of an inch, flip it over. There's going to be a section of hard white fat. You're not going to be able to render this down no matter what, so it's best to just remove it. You can also remove the silver skin while you're at it. So I gotta weigh this bad boy. I have this scale or this scale. Neither of these are gonna work.
Why don't you try the body scale?
So I put the brisket on the body scale?
You weigh yourself first, and then you hold the brisket and weigh yourself again.
And then we do maths?
Yes.
Wait, but now everyone's gonna know my weight.
Whatever, Kevin.
Yeah, work from home weight. Do I look ridiculous? Curing salt, it's what you're gonna need. It's part of your favorite foods. Think bacon, ham, sausages, the entire charcuterie boards. Curing salt is used to inhibit the growth of bacteria. It helps to preserve the meat and makes it last much longer. It also gives it that nice pink color that we're all used to. And contrary to popular belief, it's not the pink dye in the salt that makes it pink. The pink dye is just to make sure you don't accidentally ingest it because it can be toxic. The curing salt we're going to use is also called Prague Powder 1. It's made up of 6.25% sodium nitrate and 93.75% salt. Huh. This one's only made up of 1%. It's going to be a lot of math. Yeah, hi there. Do you carry Prague Powder 1?
No, sorry, we don't have that.
I was wondering if you carry Prague Powder 1.
Yeah, how much do you need? 30 or 60 pounds?
30 pounds? Do you have Prague Powder 1? All right, thanks anyway. I was wondering if you carry Prague Powder 1.
I don't think you can get that here.
Finally found it in the most unusual place. We found it at Princess Auto. Doesn't sound like a place that carries curing salt. This is for 50 pounds of meat. This little bag here. What was I gonna do with 30 pounds of this thing? In Canada, it's not necessary for it to be dyed pink. Just make sure you store it carefully and don't mix it up with your other salts. How do we even calculate this thing?
Are you even Asian?
It's okay, I made a chart. So I did this super complicated chart. So now I just need to type in the difference. So we're doing 3,700 grams. And now this gives me my ratio for what I need for my weight. The spices we are using is a recipe from Glenn and Friends. The link is down in the description. Aside from the curing salt, we're using dill seeds, garlic powder, onion powder, coriander seeds, mustard seeds, white pepper, black pepper, and pepper flakes. Blend it in the spice grinder, then mix it in with the kosher salt.
Mix, 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 mix.
Apply all the rub, patting it down to ensure that it sticks to the brisket. I sneeze. No sneeze. So you don't want to get it into there. because if you get it into there, you get one really, really salty piece. Now for the hardest part of this recipe, waiting. This box is probably 20 years old. It's from my parents. It's very special because we used to buy fish paste in it. We never throw out boxes. It's the Asian way. And into the fridge. We need to take it out every day and flip it for the next 8 to 10 days. This ensures an even cure throughout. I also smell mine once in a while just in case. Doesn't smell bad, so that's a good sign.
Much later that the old narrator got tired of waiting and they had to hire a new one.
Day 8. Or is it 9? I lost track. But anyhow, it's time to rinse off all the seasoning and give it a good rub. Oh yeah. Then soak it for 4 hours to draw out the salt, changing out the water 2 to 3 times. Bath time! We're going to need a bunch of cracked black pepper. I only have this grinder. This is taking way too long. Let's try something else.
You cut your hand?
Almost. Costco, why is this so childproof? Coarsely grind the same amount of coriander seeds. Apply it all over the brisket and press it all in. You don't need to add any more salt here. Although we soaked it, it's still plenty salty. It's finally time to smoke it. You thought we were done. Nope. We're gonna go back to the fridge and dry it out overnight.
The next morning.
It's like day 10 and there's finally light at the end of the tunnel. We are going to smoke this today. Who didn't clean it? It's looking great actually, and it smells great, which is a good sign because it's been in the fridge for 10 days. So let's get it on there. We're gonna smoke this brisket at 225 Fahrenheit until it reaches an internal temperature of 150 degrees Fahrenheit. I spritz it now and then with a little bit of apple cider vinegar mixed with some Worcestershire sauce. Yes, said it on the first try. Oh, it smells so good. I wish you could smell this right now. It smells exactly like what Schwartz does. But it's not ready yet. So we're gonna bag it up and... We are using extra large expandable bags here. It really saves a lot of headache. That's the smartest thing I've ever done. And if you haven't done so already, click that subscribe and like button. It really, really helps get our stuff out there. I think there might be a hole. Should we risk it? We're not gonna risk it. I'm going to double bag this just in case.
As the food snobs that we are, we chose to sous vide it because you can have the exact temperature and keep all the moisture in. You can, of course, steam it as well.
I'm going to sous vide it at 150 degrees Fahrenheit for 24 hours. We probably should have checked if this brisket fits in the container first.
So what are you gonna do?
It'll fit, it'll fit, it'll fit. That's a tight squeeze.
Like your pants.
You can cut it with a knife, but I prefer a meat slicer.
Food bloggers have everything.
Was it worth it to make at home? 12 days, mostly hands off? I would say yes. Now get your hands on and click the next video.